While state housing is again in the spotlight with concern about some fire escape ladders being removed from homes. Dunedin North MP David Clark has spoken to residents about it, and he's here to tell us more this evening. Good evening to you, Dave.
Good evening, Callum.
So where have these emergency escape ladders been removed from?
Well, they're being removed from state houses, and I'm aware of them being removed in Halfway Bush and Pine Hill, but I've got no doubt that it'll be happening across the city. It's the same organisation that's looking after them.
So what are your major concerns here? Well,
the families I've spoken with are really concerned about children upstairs sleeping and them having a reasonable escape route in an emergency. One family I've spoken to have experienced a fire in another state house, and they're particularly nervous. I'm told that the mother sleeps at night with the light on. She's frightened. And another one has witnessed a fire where the fire's gone up the stairwell, you know, and not having another escape route scares the pants off people, and I can completely relate to that.
What's the law here with regard to these ladders? Well,
legally they don't have to be in place, and that's what Housing New Zealand is hiding behind. They've said that they are replacing them with smoke alarms now. Fact is that you can't climb down a smoke alarm to safety, and it shouldn't be an either or in my view. That the ladders have been there since time immemorial. The houses can cope with the ladders. They took it off in the case that I'm dealt with most closely, and painted the house again, which was desperately needed, and they just haven't put it back. There's nothing wrong with the ladder, they're just refusing to put it back on.
So does there need to be a law change here?
Well, I don't think there does need to be a law change. The New Zealand Fire Service recommends that the ladders be kept there as an alternative means of exit. Perhaps a change of government's needed. I would have thought common sense could have prevailed, to be perfectly honest. It's one of those situations where it's simply a matter of putting something back that was already there, that was working.
Is this a case-by-case basis almost?
Yeah, it seems strange to me, and the family that I've dealt with, again, the mother has had back surgery, and she can't jump out. She can't contemplate throwing her children out a window either. It makes no sense. If we think yesterday there was this major fire in Waimate where a husband and wife and son lost their lives. The three daughters that escaped out that house in Waimate climbed out onto a platform off the top story of the building. It's exactly the kind of scenario that we might be faced with, and I think it's unconscionable that the organisation won't return the ladders to our state houses.
This is also an issue for privately owned homes then as well, isn't it? Multi-storied private homes.
You'd think it would be for multi-storied private homes. On the street, in the family I've dealt most with in Pine Hill, they have ladders on the houses all down the street. You know, the ones that have been sold off in the 90s, they've still got their ladders. They seem to be the only one in the street that's had theirs removed. And as I say, the New Zealand Fire Service recommends that they should be kept there as an alternative route of escape. I don't see why they couldn't be.
So what needs to be done from here?
Well, I think Housing New Zealand needs to explain why they're not going to do it. I suspect it's part of their wider dismantling of the state housing provision, actually physically dismantling them now, it seems, at local level. I think they need to be held to account and asked why they're not going to return them, because it makes no sense.
All right, MP David Clark, thanks for your time this evening.
Thanks, Callum.